Welcome to A Terrible Football Show, episode 36. This is a big episode, boys. This is a massive episode. Why is it a massive episode? The answer is very clear. Because we had football played this weekend that actually matters. Football is back. This weekend, college football, true week one. You know, we have week 0. And then next week, the NFL, of course, kicks off on Thursday. Going to be a huge game there with Buffalo and the Rams. Looking forward to watching that. Football's back, guys. How we doing? How we feeling? Shane and Ricky here on Discord. Boys, are you guys are as excited as I am about this?
Well, Vanderbilt, I'm very excited, man. Very, very excited.
We're going to talk about it.
I called that one.
We're going to talk about it.
I told you Vanderbilt was going to win.
We're going to talk about it.
And they pulled it away.
We're going to talk about it. Okay. We're going to dive into this.
Pulled away was an understatement, but yeah, they got the win.
Whoa, calm down now.
I mean, you know, pulled away seemed like it was
done.
close in the
It's
fourth
already,
quarter.
it's behind
but,
us.
you know,
Like, it's okay. We can move on.
but anyways, yeah.
And I'll go ahead and start off the show with this, guys. I have a big upset happening this weekend.
I'll translate for everyone that did not hear that. He said he has an upset for this weekend.
Major upset.
Major
for
upset.
This coming weekend.
Yep. And I know which one it is. Because you're the one who put the game in. Which also, if you haven't joined yet, run your poll. We do have college football and pros. You can join in, compete with us all season long, compete for a prize. Well, at least in college. You can compete for a prize in college. There will be no prize for anyone in the pro because I'm going to win. I mean, that's already locked in and done. Pro is done. I'm winning. College football, you have a chance. You have a chance with college. I'm a hit or miss there. Pro, it's game over. I already won. No big deal. So you can join in there, compete against us every single week. I will say, if you want to compete, join now because this is the first time I've ever used this site. And I have no idea if it's going to let people join after like these games start, after week 1. You know what I mean? I have no clue. I've never used this site before. So join now if you want to compete against us. Now, Shane, how are you feeling now? You were going to dive into something there. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm pretty full. Just got done eating, ready for the show. Usually, seeing that's nice, it's a nice little take on the show. Because usually we're sitting here by the time that the show's over with, we're fucking starving.
That's true.
But now,
every time
I'm stuffed. And I'm chilling, so I'm ready to get talking about some football.
There you go, dude. There you go.
This dude's gonna fall asleep during the show. It's gonna happen. He's gonna fall asleep during the show.
No, yeah, I hate to break it to you, but I am winning the NFL one. I'm sorry, it's already locked in. There's nothing. I can't do anything about it, man. I'm sorry, it's already done. I'm winning. I apologize, but you have a chance with the college football one. That's the one that you have a chance with. Look, I'm only talking shit because I have a very strong history on predicting NFL games. I've done these pick 'em pools like for many years now. Like back when my mom was still around, she would always host one. Like she hosted one for like 6 years in a row, and I won 4 out of 6 times. You know, I've done one with like Tyler and Brady. I've won those. You know, the one we did last year. Can't count Shane since he came in halfway. I'd have to go back and look at what like win percentages was for Shane, how he competed. But just talking me and Tyler, who did it all year, I blew Tyler out of the water. Like, I mean, I'm good at the NFL stuff. I'm good at the college. Everyone's got a fair shot. I am very bad at college. We'll see how it goes, though. But no, lots of good stuff to chat about here today. Of course, week 0, we got a couple headlines we're going to chat about. Got some interesting news out of the NFL, something that we've been watching for a while now. We've kind of got like an answer about how it's going to go, but it's going to be kind of interesting. NFL top 10, we'll kind of run through that. Some interesting news out of Carolina with Baker Mayfield. Going to chat about that mindset. And then, of course, cut 'em days. We've got some trades that happened, some possible trades to come. AFC Twitter did the AFC division winners there. Going to chat about that. And then, of course, week 1, our predictions for all of our week 1 games. And then we'll chat a little bit about fantasy. We did have our fantasy draft last week. And we'll talk about how we feel about our teams. But first and foremost, let's go over a couple things here in-house for us. So here, I shouted this out last week. I shouted out on the recent Gamesthetic episode 100, which shout out to episode 100. If you're a fan of games, go watch that episode. We ranked 25 video game consoles. That was a great episode. We have officially partnered with Wayward Beer Company. Let me just kind of magically fit this hat over my headphones here. There we go. Look, like a train conductor now. Let's go. All aboard, everyone. We have officially partnered with them. You can use promo code SparkE3 to get 10% off your order. You can get something like this solid cologne stuff. It's pretty solid. I really like it. Or like a beard butter. You know, you can get that. Body wash, anything of the sort. Shout out to that. I'll shout out to other sponsor. Rogue Energy. Rocket Pop is about to launch here soon. Use the referral link down below, promo code SparkE3 or Razor3 to get 10% off. And lastly, an announcement. Haven't made this announcement yet. First announcement right here. Terrible Football Show episode 36. We do have an official new partner. I have agreed to terms with said partner. Had a nice conference call last week. Super excited for this partnership. I'm actually going to showcase them a little bit right here. We've officially partnered with a merch company called Agent Inc. They will be designing some merch for us here soon, and this is like some high-end stuff. So SparkE3shop.com will still be active. Consider that like the great value version of our merch. Meanwhile, the merch that we will have here at Agent Inc. will be like the high-end stuff. All right, I had a nice conference call with these guys. They reached out to me sometime last week and had like a 45-minute call with them. So really pumped for this. Really pumped to start designing the merch. The current game plan is that we will do SparkE3 branded merch first. So I have like a nice like lightning aesthetic. It'll be super clean. And then we're going to hit a terrible football show because one thing about Agent Inc. is they do have jerseys. So we're probably going to do some terrible football show jerseys, boys, and it's going to be pretty sick. And jerseys are actually their number one sellers. That is their number one seller across the board is jerseys. So we're going to hit up some jerseys for a terrible football show. Then we'll do Gamesthetic, and we'll finish up AniMan Plus. Sorry, AniMan Plus fans, know your place. I mean, I'm the host of these shows, and I'm telling you, know your place. Know the pecking order of these shows, okay? I'm just being real with you. But yeah, super pumped to be partnered with Agent Inc. Excited to actually start working on some designs later this week. So definitely shout out to that. Make sure to join the Discord as well. You can jump in with us, chat with us. We'll bring you into a call every once in a while. Okay, with that said, let's hit a couple of quick things before we dive into some college football. Number one, it's pretty obvious we'd shout this out in some capacity. It happened. It's a pretty big deal. Pretty disgusting big deal. Fuck Matt Ariza. There's not a lot to talk about. Fuck him. He already got cut. Great. There's a little that's kind of suspicious with, apparently Buffalo already knew about what happened on the 31st, then proceeded to name him the starter and cut Matt Hack, later on in August. But it's neither here nor there. He is cut. And since he is like a punter, he's done. Like, this is it. It doesn't matter if it comes back he's done. He's never coming back to the league. If it was a quarterback, maybe. Maybe if he came back not guilty, whatever, he might come back to the league. No, he's done. It's over. His career's done. Fuck the guy. We'll go ahead and just assume the dude's an absolute disgusting freak. Fuck the guy. We're moving on. But also, big T's and P's to Commanders running back Brian Robinson. Was unfortunately shot here recently in an attempted carjacking. And this was literally, I saw the news where he was projected to be named the starter, the rumors for it. And then 4 hours later that happened. So it's just obviously, he is in good shape, which is awesome. He was shot on the leg to my understanding. He is back at facility today from what I saw. It could have been a lot worse is the bottom line. You know what I mean? He's even potentially going to be coming back this season. He may still play this season, which is, that's cool. That's awesome. That's something to celebrate. But the main thing to celebrate is the dude's alive. And that's the big thing. And also, I do want to give one special shout out involving this because Tyler sent me this. And when he sent me this, I know their intentions were trying to be positive, but it's one of those cases, think before you fucking speak, because you're going to make yourself look like a dumbass, where someone responded to one of these posts where it's if only this was Sean Taylor and they had a goat emoji. So I know what they were implying. They were implying only if Sean Taylor, was in the same situation where he did not die. But think before you speak. The way they worded it, it's what they were trying to say, but they didn't say it right. You know what I mean? So just think before you speak, people. That's all I got to say, okay? But yeah, obviously massive T's and P's to Brian Robinson. Glad that he's alive and kicking, and we'll hope, obviously be back.
Is that the Brian Robinson that played for Alabama last year?
That's a great question. Back? Let me fact check that. I think so. Let's see. Yeah, he played at Alabama, where he was a two-time national champion. He was selected in the third round of the 2020 NFL draft. So yeah, you are correct, Shane. Yeah. Obviously, massive T's and P's there. That's huge. Also, shout out to Jacob as well. Now in the chat. What's up, Jacob? How are you doing? How you feeling? Okay, so let's do some college first. Some week 0 headlines. So we'll go ahead and start with this. I feel like we have to because it was a big talking point for us. Vandy mopped the floor with Hawaii. Okay, I watched the first 2 quarters. They mopped the absolute floor with them. Hawaii did not look good at all. Looked terrible. Braden Traeger, our quarterback, looked a lot worse than I was hoping for, especially since our head coach is a former Hawaii quarterback who is pretty good at Hawaii. And Braden just did not look good at all. Like, he was making some very poor decisions throughout that first 2 quarters that I watched. Even in that first quarter, we did score. Our running back, Dedrick Parson, he did look pretty solid. I liked what I saw out of him. But hopefully we'll get things together. Ricky, I know, is feeling on top of the world. I know I got a nice message from him where he's just like, "Can anyone help me read this score?" It's like, well, Ricky, I would be happy to help you read it. It read 63-10. So now,
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just part of it, man. I mean, we sat here last week, man. I tried to tell you that Vanderbilt was going to beat Hawaii, and you're like, "There's no chance." And then you gave me this statistic that I think, what was it, their last 13 openers? They're 12-1.
Yep.
Now they're
12-2. I know.
14. And so, I mean, we just gotta sit and embrace the moment, because here is something else, guys, that I want everyone to like. I want everybody to just kind of take a small second and dive in to Vanderbilt football for just a second, because Vanderbilt football has a chance to do something that I think would be pretty freaking awesome if they were able to pull this off. So their next 3 games, they have Elon at home. They're going to beat Elon. They're going to beat them. They have Wake Forest also at home. Wake Forest is not near as good as what they were last year. I don't think they're going to be as good, even though for some odd reason the AP decided, hey, they should be in the top 25. Don't think they're going to be any good. I think Vanderbilt's going to beat them. Then they have Northern Illinois. That's going to be a tougher opponent, I think, for them, but I still think they're going to pull it off. They're going to be 4-0 heading into their first SEC conference play. Do you happen to know who their first SEC conference opponent is?
No, not off the top of my head.
Alabama. Imagine Vanderbilt 4-0.
No.
Alabama 4-0. Going
headline match. Listen, all right, I'll go ahead and spoil this for everyone right now. If that happens and Vandy is 4-0 going to Alabama, just for the memes, we will make that our FBS game of the week that week. Just for the memes. Like, we know it won't be, but just for the memes, we will make that our game of the week.
Hey, but either way, you're looking at a 4-0 or at least a 3-1 if they end up losing to Wake Forest. I think they're going to be a lot more talented than what Northern Illinois is. And I mean, here's the thing. They did have 1 vote to win the SEC this year. I still think it's their head coach, which, that gives him a little bit, of a boost, I guess. I have no idea. But I mean, I don't know. And maybe this is just an overreaction. Maybe Hawaii is that bad. We won't know. We won't know until later on in the season, obviously.
See, honestly, watching that game, that's kind of the big question. Is Hawaii that bad or is Vandy that good? You know what I mean? And that was kind of the question. Now, I do want to share a story from this game because, like I already kind of mentioned, there is no way in hell that I was the only person that had the reaction that I did. Unless you're just like a diehard Vandy fan and you already knew of this guy or whatever, or you just like hardcore follow college football and you just already knew this guy, like you may have not had a reaction. But for me, not knowing this player, my reaction was like over the top. It was, I think, in the first or second quarter, they just stripped the ball from Hawaii. Vandy's defense did. Picked up the fumble, ran it in for a touchdown, right? When they ran it in for a touchdown, they started to celebrate, and the commentator said, "And for the orgy." And I'm like, "And for the what?" And then they showed the linebacker's name. His name is Anthony Orgy. Anthony Orgy is his name. And I'm just like, okay, that makes so much more sense. Holy, there's no way I was the only person with that reaction. Because I swear to God, it sounded just like, "And for the orgy," because they said it right as he's starting to celebrate with his team. And I'm like, there's no way I was the only person with that fucking reaction. Zero chance. Seriously, look him up. Anthony Orgy, I believe was his name. Because I had to fact check this. Because I was like, there's no fucking way. So that one, it's just one of those commentating moments that just really catches you off guard. Ricky, I know you're a massive, wrestling fan. I remember a few years back, I was watching some pay-per-view for WWE, whatever, and it was a Randy Orton match, and Michael Cole was commentating naturally, and he said the Viper slithers in from behind, and I'm like, ooh, bad choice of words there. Choice of words there.
Very, very bad choice of words.
And in this guy's case, it's just his name. I'm sorry for this guy. It's anyone that's going to pronounce his name is going to make it sound like "and for the orgy." Like I'm sorry, that's just what it's going to sound like. But either way, that was hilarious, though. Yeah, that was hilarious. The game, however, was not hilarious, but it is what it is. This weekend we play Western Kentucky. We'll see how that game goes. Western Kentucky did get a dub this past weekend, like 30-20 something, I think. But Western Kentucky is kind of like back in a position of like they're trying to kind of get the offense back on rolling since they lost the greatest quarterback in college football history of Bailey Zappi. So that, they're going to figure things out. They'll work it out. We'll see how this game goes. We'll probably get the shit beat out of us now because it's how I feel about Hawaii. Do you guys remember? The first Manning cast last year where it was the Raiders and someone else on Monday Night Football. Do you guys remember? It's like literally the very first play for the Raiders. It was the very first play of that game, right? Peyton was making a joke where he's like, all right, this play right here is going to tell me everything that I need to know about their season. And it's like an incompletion. And Eli's like, what would that tell you, Peyton? He's just like, whatever losing. He's like 6-11, whatever he said. That's kind of how I felt watching this game for Hawaii. It's like I watched the game. It's like, this game will tell me everything I need to know. All right, we're losing almost every game. Got it. All right, sounds good. Go Bows, though. We got this.
Now, I will say, I think me personally, I have a special tie to Hawaii now because I found out something that I didn't know. Other than my good friend being a fan of them already, Mateo Soli, former 3-year or 4-year player at Arkansas, transferred over there.
Yes, he did,
and apparently was putting up some pretty nice plays. So I may have to pay attention to Hawaii a little bit more
on defense, right?
Yeah,
He's like
a defensive end.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was a tight end a defensive end for Arkansas that was fucking making plays with a club on his hand because he broke like two bones in his hand or something. So he's playing with a club like that cast.
Right.
And then also speaking of Bailey Zappi, he was announced to be the backup quarterback to Mac Jones.
Hey, there we go. Shout out to the greatest college quarterback in college history, Bailey Zappi, the GOAT. No one's better. Sorry, deal with it. This is the facts of life, man. So some other headlines we got coming out of week 0. The biggest one, really, honestly, is the Scott Frost stuff versus Northwestern. Oh my God, dude. He already had a hot seat coming in this year. That game just made it 1,000 times worse. Up front. He made it so much worse. Like, boys, like, at this point, it's like, if you're Nebraska, I mean, you need to cut ties with this guy quick. Because, I mean, like, in the last 5 years, he's only been over 9 wins one time. Who was the coach for it? It was like, what, Bo Pelini, I think is his name?
Bo Pelini, yep.
Yeah, in Bo Pelini's time, he had multiple 9-win seasons. And you get rid of him in favor of now Scott Frost, who I get it. He went to Nebraska and all. But in, like, the past 5 years alone, only one season of 9 wins plus, like, bro, like at this point, you gotta call it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, his hot seats, and and if it was my decision, right? They're playing North Dakota this weekend. North Dakota's not a great FCS school. I get it. They're mid tier. Whatever. If they don't blow them out of the water, I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Like, you can win, and that's cool and all. But if you don't absolutely just blow the doors off North Dakota, I am concerned as a Nebraska fan. Especially after what we saw in week 1 with Northwestern and Scott Frost's decision making. But I don't know, man. The Scott Frost hot seat is, flaming. And I'm telling you, if he don't blow the doors off North Dakota, it's just going to add more fuel to the fire. How you boys feeling about this? 'Cause, I mean, like, this was a pretty notable hire when it was done, for Nebraska. And he's done absolutely nothing for the program.
I mean, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Ricky.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Shane.
I mean, I didn't, like I said, I'm not gonna be able to watch a ton of football, like live football this year. And I didn't get to catch a lot of games on Saturday because, of course, I was working. But what I saw from it, Nebraska was up 38-17 or something like that at some point, and just completely blew the game off. Like, and I think there was some stat that Scott Frost was like 0-25 or some crazy shit like that. I'm not exactly what it was for, but in one-score games, like he's lost so many one-score games. And guess what? It came down to one score, and he lost it. So yeah, I mean, I think at this point, honestly, if they start off like 0-4, 0-5, 1-6, something like that, like he's gonna be gone before the season's over with.
Yeah, he's done at that point, 100%. Ricky, what about you?
So I thought they should have cut ties with him last year. I like Scott Frost. I like Scott Frost a lot. He had, I think it was Central Florida that he had his very good success at. But when you get to a certain point, you follow this pattern that Scott Frost has. His 9 losses last year, guys, were all single-digit losses. And that just, in some ways, I understand the athletic director's point of view, because you're looking at, okay, we're almost there. Maybe there's just something this guy needs to just get this boost going. I personally thought, had they lost to Northwestern, which they did, I said this last week. Me and Brad had talked about this last week. I said to fire him in Dublin, Ireland, leave him in Dublin, Ireland, let him have some dignity, go buy some drinks. Drinks are on him to accept the buyout, whatever it is, because that's one of the things that's really holding Nebraska back is this entire buyout. And guys, I'm just going to go ahead and mention this just a little bit extra. Nebraska, in my opinion, has really just shot themselves in the foot. And I'm glad you brought up Bo Pelini, Alex, because Bo Pelini, I understand that they hit a spot, sort of kind of like how Arkansas did with Mike Anderson a few years ago, where you're at this certain tier and you're not doing any better than this, and you thought, hey, let's see if we can actually do better than this. And they still have not been able to overcome that. They've gotten way worse. And Bo Pelini's been gone for like 7 years now.
True.
And so, if not 8, I can't remember the exact year, but I know it's been at least 7. And Bo Pelini, I know he was fired last year as an assistant coach because he's an old school type of guy, but he went over to Youngstown State, had some decent success at Youngstown State, and yet here we are. Nebraska still hasn't done anything since then. I think they've been to maybe one bowl game since they fired Bo Pelini. I think that was the year after he had left. I think they went 7-5 or 6-6. I'd have to look it up to be 100% accurate. So Nebraska is just shooting themselves in the foot even more, and I think it's time they should have fired him in Dublin. They should have fired Scott Frost in Dublin. Like I said, go get drunk in Ireland. Buy some drinks for everybody because you can afford to do it. Give the guy a little bit of dignity while he's in there, because it's just without him having a decent year. Northwestern had zero expectations this year, guys. None. Zero, zip, nada. And here he is now, 0-1. He loses to North Dakota. I'll just go ahead and call it. If it's even a close game, it's time to cut.
See, that's my
cut
stance.
The ties.
Yeah.
Get it done. Cut the ties. Get it over with. Move on.
See, like, look, if it was like, let's say North Dakota State, okay, fine, it can be a close game and they can win, and that's cool and all. It's North Dakota fucking State, but it's North Dakota, bro. Like, they're not a good program. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a close game, like, get him gone. I don't care if he wins. He's out. You need to blow the doors off North Dakota.
The only reason why I see him sticking around into at least a midway point in the season, or maybe a little farther, is because if you actually look at his contract, in his contract, his buyout gets cut in over either half or just over half October 1st.
Ooh, all right, we got a date. We got a date now,
So
boys.
once that October 1st mark hits and that buyout gets cut in half or whatever percentage, I know it's at least half, you could very well see him being departed shortly after.
Good point, man. Very good point.
That is. So yeah, we have a hard date to keep an eye on here in like a month. Yeah, we'll see how that's gonna go. Another thing that I wanted to shout out here, and I wanted to shout out because like how high, Shane specifically has been on North Carolina, which I get it. Mac Brown, you don't want to count him out, but I felt like coming into this year, this would be like, we'll see how they do kind of year because you just lost your quarterback. You lost Sam Howell multiple. But dude, I don't know if you guys saw any highlights of Drake. How you pronounce his last name? Maya? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw
think
some.
so.
Yeah, he's a freshman quarterback for him, and I understand they played Florida A&M. Look, I'm not trying to overhype this. I get it. Florida A&M, they're a good FCS school. They are a very good FCS program. I get it. But he went 29 for 37, 294 and 5 TDs, no picks. But the reason I want to show this out is because while those stats are good, and yes, it's an FCS school, the point is dude, he was playing with such confidence. Where it's like, this is a freshman, really. I was seeing people compare him to the way that he was playing, the way he was on the field to a Patrick Mahomes level of just athleticism and just swag and confidence or whatever. It's that sort of same level. So I wanted to shout that out because, man, that could be something to watch for North Carolina because, even going into this first week of predictions, one of the games that I picked out was North Carolina Appalachian State because Appalachian State, they had a lot of players returning and they're not a bad team. And that could have been potential we'll see if App State can actually get the dub over North Carolina. But I don't know, man. I don't know now. I might ride with the hot hand of Drake because Drake, I'm telling you, he looked from the highlights that I got a chance to sit down and watch, he looked just confidence. Jacob, throw throwing out there that North Carolina winning the ACC Coastal this year. Ooh, that's spicy. That is spicy.
Who said that?
Jacob in the chat, one of Shane's friends.
See, Jacob, I actually, me personally, I would have them winning the ACC in totality. But my biggest question with that, though, I think Miami is still just a little bit better than they are right now. And then Clemson, of course, is a giant question mark because if DJ Ugalele, whatever his name is, Ugalele, ends up playing well or ends up getting benched for that freshman that they have, and Clemson goes on a roll like they did like last year, of course Clemson has a chance to win it. But in my eyes, it's those three teams and then everybody else in the ACC.
Yeah, hold on. NC State, though, that's going to be one that you got to watch as well. NC State, man, they brought everyone back except, obviously Icky went to the draft. Other than that, they brought everyone back. I mean, I'm personally very high on NC State. And Ricky, I want to say you are too. I want to say you and Forrest were talking about NC State and you guys' recent episodes, right? Ricky, you might be muted, my guy.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got a little mute here just in case my voice
is
overhost. Anyway, no, North Carolina State's in the Atlantic Division. They're not in the Coastal Division. So I mean, it is, like I said, it's definitely with the division the way that it is. I could almost see North Carolina winning the division, but like Shane said earlier, I think Miami is just a little bit better. I think eventually, they're going to be a little bit better. Everybody else in the Coastal Division is not going to be very good. They're not going to be the biggest threat in the entire world. The Atlantic Division, however, Clemson, of course, is in there. They're a huge favorite, but I'm sticking with North Carolina State in that division. I really believe North Carolina State has a chance to run with that division and possibly the entire ACC this year.
I do. I definitely can agree to that. And Jacob also throws out there, hot take from Jacob: Clemson is a 2 or 3 loss team. NC State and NC will play for the ACC. I don't actually think that's a hot take. I really don't.
So here's something very interesting.
I'm with you, Jacob. I'm here with you. I'm here with you on Clemson.
So here's something that's, I know this is just one of those stupid things. That's just one of those hilarious deals that no one really believes. But they actually had this seal. I can't remember what the name of the seal was, but the seal picked Georgia Tech to upset Clemson this weekend. So hey, anything can happen in college football.
That is very true. Anything can happen in college football.
Well, I mean, and I mean, you can go to this too. That doesn't surprise me because look at Georgia Tech, Air Force, and everybody that runs that kind of offense, right? They have a chance to beat and upset anybody because it's super hard in this day and age in college football preparing for a team like that.
And it's super hard to officiate, guys. Oh my gosh, I officiated Bearden this past Friday night. Now Bearden was not very good, guys. They're not as athletic or anything like that as what Drew Central was. But there were times I'm like, okay, where's the ball? So yeah, it's tough to officiate it. That's for sure.
How's the officiating journey going for you?
I'm enjoying it, man. So this coming week, so last night I was at Bauxite for 2 scrimmage games. This Thursday night I'll be at Lake Village for a junior high game, and Friday night I will be at Hamburg.
Ooh, fancy. Real classy.
They're only a 3A school, man. It's cool.
Yeah. Now, still talking about quarterback stuff here. What are you guys' thoughts on this Michigan quarterback situation? I mean, do you feel like this is being handled the right way or what? I mean, I think it's wild. I do. I mean, I get it. I completely get it. And both have looked great. One guy was your guy last year, and I think also the season before. One guy is your highly touted prospect who 5-star recruit. Now in his sophomore season. I get it. I get the mindset, but I don't know. I just feel like every time I've ever seen a situation like this with 2 quarterbacks, college or pro, never works out for the team. I cannot think of a situation where it worked out where you're trying to balance between 2 in a season. Maybe that kind of like there towards the end times of Joe's time in San Fran with Steve. That's the only time. But like other than that, like in college and pro in today's, 2 quarterbacks, they don't fucking work. I mean, what do you guys think of this fucking Michigan, thing where Cade is starting week 1 and JJ is starting week 2? I saw a hilarious comment earlier where it's like that moment that Colorado State and Hawaii realize that they're just tryouts for both the quarterbacks. And I'm like, that's accurate. That's exactly what this is.
So I have one thing I'm going to say about this, Alex, and this is all I'm going to say. This is the same coach that went on national television when he was the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, and he said, "We're going to go with Colin, and we're going to go with Alex."
That is true. He did do that.
So this does not surprise me at all.
That is true. He did do that. He did do that. Shane, what's your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I don't like two quarterback system. I've always thought that, yes, stick with a guy that you think either is better, or two, maybe he's not as good right now, but if you can get him into these early games, as far as pretty much like these warm up games that college football typically has, versus your Division 2 and 3 and lower end Division 1A schools, then yeah, you can kind of tweak things, and maybe by the time football matters in the sense of conference play, then ride with that guy. Now, I will say this, the way that he's doing it, I prefer that than consistently be swapping out quarterbacks every other drive or every
That's fair.
quarter or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
I like saying, okay, look, you're going to have this game, you're going to have this entire game. Whoever I think can help the team produce points the best, that's who I'm going to go with. I like that better than what typically we see when it comes to a two quarterback system. But at the end of the day, I think you got to settle on one guy before the season starts.
Let me actually pull up Michigan's schedule real quick because I don't remember it off the top of my head. Because I am kind of curious where, I am thinking about that joke where it's just like, oh, imagine how Hawaii and Colorado State feels that they're just like, tryouts. All right. So, I mean, they've even got another week for a tryout if they want to, because week 3 they got Connecticut, they got UConn. So they got another tryout week if they want. And then they get into, some Big Ten play, but only against, Maryland. So whatever. So that we could see we could potentially see this sort of thing up until week 5, because week 5 they're going up against Iowa. So we could see this shit for the first 4 weeks for Michigan, trying to figure things out against these teams that in theory they should have no problem beating. So this is going to be something to watch over the next few weeks. So week 1 though, boys, what are some games that you guys are keeping an eye on besides your own, obviously? I mean, both Arkansas fans, I get you're playing a ranked team. Besides Arkansas and Cincy, what are some games that you guys are keeping an eye on? Because I've got some that wasn't even in our pick 'em poll that I kind of wish we threw in there. Because like for me, like West Virginia and Pittsburgh, that rivalry, that's one right there. Pittsburgh, has Solis, I think how you pronounce his last name, who was at USC last year. That's who their quarterback is this year. And then, West Virginia, got some new OC over there with Graham Harrell. That's a game that I'm going to keep an eye on this weekend for sure. As well as, Houston and, San Antonio. That's actually, I think, in our pick'em games. That's one that I'm going to keep an eye on. And then also North Carolina, Appalachian State. Those are part of the games that I'm, besides the obvious ones. I mean, you got Oregon and Georgia. That's obvious. Notre Dame and Ohio State, which also shout out to, the Notre Dame coach where he's just like, where he was asked about his line in betting. I think it was like minus 17.5. And he's just like, what was it again? They're like minus 17. He's like, oh, I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know. I'm going to bring that up in the team meeting. So shout out to that. That's a different level of energy right there. But, how are you guys feeling towards week 1? Obviously, we're pumped. You guys are pumped for Arkansas and Cincy. What are some other games, though, you're keeping your eye on this weekend?
Other than some of the ones that are in our pick 'em, there's really not a ton that's really out there that's just really like, oh my gosh, this could be awesome.
Yep.
I mean, USC does play Rice. I mean, I know that's probably going to be a blowout, but that's just going to give us an opportunity to see, Lincoln Riley, his debut. Let me see here. Utah and Florida. I think Utah and Florida
I'm excited for
be
that
a
one.
real good game.
I'm excited for that one.
And it's in Gainesville. I mean, that's anything can happen in Gainesville. Even though I don't think Florida is going to pull off the victory, but you could definitely call that one out. Let me see here. I'm trying to find some other ones that could really be a good potential. Memphis and Mississippi State. That could be a doozy.
That is true. That's fair.
And so, I mean, other than that, guys, I mean, it's really, I mean, it's just a lot of warm-up games.
It is
this week for a ton of teams. And so, if last year's Utah State team was playing, They could probably give Alabama a decent run, but they're 41.5-point underdog this year. They're just not as strong as what they were last year. So, I mean, other than some of the ones that we have for pick'em guys, there's really not a whole lot that's on here that just really just like I said, it just doesn't stick to me if that makes sense.
No, it
It's not
does.
nothing real intriguing that's really happening this weekend other than some of the games that we have. And I can't remember if Florida State and LSU was on our on our list
Let
or
me look.
not, but that could be it. That's I believe that's a Sunday night game.
No,
So
it's
yeah, I
not.
mean, other than that, guys, there's really nothing that really sticks out other than our pick 'em, obviously.
Like I said, the only other ones that we did not pick out was, like I said, West Virginia and Pitt. I always love a good rivalry game. Like, it doesn't matter if it's teams I follow. If I see if I see, like, when I'm picking all these games and I see a rivalry game for the week, I'm usually like last season, there were so many rivalry games of teams that I don't follow. I'm like, that's a big time rivalry. Here's the records for them. We're fucking calling this game. Also, shout out to Iggy. He says that we are playing on the radio at his work. Hopefully, me cursing is going to be fine. I appreciate playing this for everyone. Shout out to Jacob as well. Florida Atlantic and Ohio should be a good game as well. Yes, it should. Shout out to N'Kosi Perry, former Miami quarterback at Florida Atlantic. Army and Coastal sounds good on paper as well. Also a very good point there too. Shane, what about you? How you feeling outside of Arkansas and Cincy?
Honestly, I mean, other than just seeing where these key players have transferred to and seeing how they're going
Sure.
to perform at their new teams, new coaches, things like that, I don't really see much outside of the ones that we picked. If you give me a second, I'm gonna re-pull this up because I was kind of busy doing some other stuff as
You're good.
well.
You're good.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we've got pretty much everything in my eyes. I mean, we got Utah, Florida. Uh, I mean, yeah, I mean, North Carolina, App State. I don't really see anything other than, I mean, the games that we've already got.
Yep.
Let me pull up the other games here. Um, I'd like to see what Tennessee does to Ball State. I know it's Ball State, but
You
I
just
mean,
want to see
as
how Tennessee
Tennessee
does.
fans
Yeah.
always do, they hype themselves up. If Ball State comes in and puts up a game, I would love to see that. Just because I'm not a real big fan of Tennessee fans, but that goes back to basketball.
I have
And
Tennessee winning the East.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can really see that, but I've got to see them perform on the field first before I start jumping the gun with Tennessee. Um, Other than that, not much. I mean, Illinois. I'd like to see how they continue. I
That's
know they
true.
got a win this past week.
Hey, I'm gonna
I'd like
go
to
ahead and
see
throw
what they
this out
do.
there right now. Illinois is gonna be a team to keep an eye on this year. I'm not expecting them to make like some massive noise, and it's the Big Ten, obviously. But I'm just telling you, keep an eye on Illinois. I got a lot of faith in this team, and also shout out to the fact that Indiana is like what I shared it earlier. I think in our group chat, they're like what 6 games away, whatever, from being the first FBS school to hit 700 losses. Oh God, Hawaii might be bad, but baby, we ain't that bad. So let's go. We got something to be happy about.
Oh boy, that's horrible. That's horrible. Goodness gracious, they're
No-
worse than Vanderbilt.
Oh, I know, right? That's saying something. Like, come on, bro. Indiana, man. Because, like, you think of Indiana and you think of them as, like, in theory, could be a good program, but it's because you have those ties, like, oh, well, their basketball program is a historically good program. But then you just look at football, it's like, yeah, we're about to be the first FBS school with 700 losses. So, shout out to us. Hey, look on the bright side. You're at the top of the mountain in something. May not be good, but you're at the top of the mountain in something. But no, Illinois, Jacob threw out there, Illinois should be going undefeated going into their game with Wisconsin. I agree. I think Illinois legitimately is a team that you're going to have to watch out for this year. It's just a gut feeling, man. I think what old Bert Belima is doing up there in Illinois, man, I think he's back in his roots up there in the Big Ten where he did have success. I'm telling you, man, I think Illinois is going to be something to watch. I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing because I was following Illinois the past few years when Lovey was there because I'm a massive fan of Lovey. So I've been following Illinois for a good few years now, and it's just like I thought I could let them go once Lovey was gone, but now I saw them do some damage last year, and I'm just like, for the sake of the show, let's follow Illinois. Let's see what they're going to do because I think they're
And
going
I
to be
follow Illinois
surprised.
because in my eyes, even though a lot of Razorback fans didn't really like Brett Bielema going towards the end of our or his tenure here, just because they felt like, I mean, it was true. It was kind of like like what Ricky said earlier with Mike Anderson. he couldn't get over the peak, right?
Right.
It's almost like he got to the top of the mountain and he just kind of took a step back every single time. Couldn't get over that hump. But I was always a big fan of Brett Bielema here in Arkansas. I was even saying give him another year to see what he could do. Now going back at it now, I'm glad we got rid of him because I like Sam Pittman way more. What he's done for the program, what he's done for recruiting, that's what Brett Bielema kind of couldn't do was recruit inside the state of Arkansas. And if you're in a state like Arkansas, you've got to recruit the talent here in Arkansas, and that's what Brett Bielema did not do. He let 75% of talent here in Arkansas leave the state, and you can't do that. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad he's up there doing well, and I'll definitely be following them closely all year.
Hey, don't forget last year they had that 9 overtime game versus Penn State to beat them. I think that's what it was, right? 9 overtimes.
Yep, yep.
Which that was
Which
insane.
I mean, really, I don't really, it's really like 4, but yeah, but technically it was 9 because of the new rules.
Yeah, so insane. Jacob threw out there, I say Illinois should be at most a 3-loss team, being against Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. I can agree to that. I will say, I would love to see Illinois get that dub over Wisconsin. I think a lot of people would, and you never know. It could be possible. We'll see. Just, beat his old team.
Which
Just
also, if
we'll
I'm not
see.
mistaken, that would be Brett Bielema's first game back at Wisconsin, right?
Should be. Yeah. Yeah,
So
it should
that
be
could
because
be
after
interesting.
Arkansas, he went to New England, and he was just on Bill Belichick's staff for a little while. Like he just got back in the college game last year. He's been hanging out in New England, just chilling.
Yeah, I don't think Arkansas played Wisconsin. I
No.
know there was rumors that we're going to play them in a bowl game when Brett was here, but we ended up not playing them.
Right.
So I mean, this is his true first game back in Wisconsin.
Yep.
So we're playing Wisconsin, so it's going to be a good game.
And I will say, I'm going to throw out there as well, to Jacob's point, I actually think they could even get that dub over Minnesota. I think Minnesota's going to fall off this year, with PJ Fleck and the Golden Gophers there, and they still have their same quarterback. I'm drawing a blank on Tanner Morgan, maybe. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I think Minnesota's going to drop off this year. I just call it a gut feeling, man.
I will bring up this game. It's kind of weird. It's on a Sunday. And I'm not seeing it on our games unless I'm just completely blind and can't see it. And now it's two teams that I don't really like that much,
Florida and LSU.
but the Florida State LSU game, I'm
Oh,
interested in
yeah.
seeing.
We don't have that
you
on
know
our
that
pick
goes.
'em. Yeah, none of us called that one out. Probably should have. Just like in hindsight, I wish I would have put on West Virginia and Pitt, but I guess I just missed it somehow originally. But the Florida State and LSU is going to be one to watch. Hopefully, LSU
And
beats the shit out
speaking of
Florida
that, real
State.
quick, I'm gonna kind of get off script here.
Go for
Did
it.
y'all happen to see the thing that's breaking the internet with Desmond Howard choosing his 4 teams in the college football playoff?
Yes, I did. Where I saw the jokes where it's like this man must be like in 2040 something of his NCAA dynasty.
Yeah, this man's
I'm
got.
not one who has ever been on drugs, but I want whatever he's smoking. I'm serious, y'all. I'm serious. This dude's getting paid money. He's got to be at least making 6 or 7 figures on ESPN. A lot of them are,
Right.
especially guys who are high profile, like Stephen A. Smith. You name them, Jay Williams, all those other guys. Can't even think of them. Max Kellerman. You name them. And he's got to be smoking something great. I mean, that's just yeah. It's hilarious.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, buddy. I have a sneaking suspicion they'll win the West. Okay.
Wait, who's going to win the West?
Texas A&M.
Yeah,
Texas A&M's not winning the West, my friend. It's not happening. Not happening.
Yeah, Jacob, I'm gonna have to go agree with Ricky. I think there will be a solid 7-5. That's pretty
They're
much
not
their
winning.
peak.
I agree. 7-5, 8-4 at most. I mean, who said that? Was that Jacob who said that again?
Yep.
Yeah.
I want whatever you're smoking, Jacob. I want whatever you're smoking, Jacob.
And frankly, Alex wants your mic. So if you just want to go ahead and toss that over.
Okay. Oh man. No.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay.
Oh, Minnesota. No shot. No shot. They're winning. Look, that side of the Big Ten is not good. I will not disagree with you on that one, but I really think Minnesota's going to drop, man. I really think Minnesota's going to drop this year. I think the writing on the wall for Minnesota was there last year. where it's like they came in with like a little bit of hype to them at the very beginning of the year, and they fell off very, very quickly and just never kind of regained that steam. So that's just kind of where I'm at. But honestly, when it comes to that Big Ten West, I mean, it literally could be anyone. I mean, so it's possible Minnesota could win, I guess. I mean, that Big Ten West stinks. But I don't think I'll be. I really think they're going to fall off a cliff. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. They may not. I'm not a college football expert, so we'll see how it goes. Boys, anything else you want to throw out there with week 1 or anything of the sort? College football. If not, we'll hop over to talk about some pro stuff. Old Miss is about to win the West for the SEC. Okay. All right, buddy.
Jesus Christ, people, come
All
on.
right, buddy. I'm not even an SEC guy. I'm going to have to double down on what Ricky was saying. I want what you're smoking, man. I'm not even an SEC guy. But, man, Ole Miss, that's something. I mean, I'll take Mississippi State over Ole Miss this year. So, I don't know. Yeah, anything else, boys, you want to throw out there college-wise? And I will hop over to a couple pro topics here.
We're good, man. I'm good with whatever.
Okay. All right, so the biggest thing out of the NFL is, of course, the Jimmy G thing, dude. We've been waiting on something for a while now with Jimmy G. Like, he was going to get traded. We had by this date, the 30th, he'd be released or traded. But instead, we got the breaking news that he's finalizing a new contract that's going to make him the highest paid back in the NFL. He lowered his base salary to $6.5 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed. He has a chance to earn like an extra $10 million in incentives of starting. Apparently, Seattle did call about Jimmy, but San Fran naturally didn't want to trade within the division. So that tells me that piece of news coming out that Seattle was interested about Jimmy, but was not interested about Baker. Let's all throw that out there. That's what pushed San Fran to, instead of releasing him like planned, try to work out this new deal, because they knew if they released him, he'd probably just get signed by Seattle. You know what I mean? So that's what that tells me, is that they just didn't want to let that happen. That's why they made this deal. It also apparently includes a new no trade clause. Jimmy was also voted the 106th best player, barely missing top 100 shot to that. But also, besides Seattle, there was literally no trade market. It all comes down to he had the shoulder surgery is what it came down to. But also, like, what does this signal to you guys? Does this signal more like they just didn't want him to go in the division? Or does this signal more like they're losing faith, not losing faith, but don't have total faith in Lance? Because I'm kind of in the boat of both, personally. Especially the more and more that I keep on hearing that, like, Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac, everyone else wanted Lance, he was outvoted. Kyle Shanahan wanted Brady, he was outvoted, they didn't go for Brady. So, like, that's kind of the things that I'm hearing out of this San Fran camp right now. And that kind of puts it in perspective for me that maybe they just don't have total faith in Lance yet, which is fair, I guess, because I mean he only started 12 to 16 games in college, and then the few games he played last year, that's it. Like he doesn't have a lot of experience. While the experience he's got is good, he doesn't have a lot of experience. But I mean, what does this tell you guys with this situation? Like, they just didn't want him to simply go to Seattle, or they just don't have total faith in Lance? Which way are you guys leaning? You with me where you're kind of in the middle, or one way or the other?
No, me personally, I think it is somewhat of if Trey Lance doesn't end up being this guy that we want him to be or think he can be, we know we got Jimmy G. And he is, he can win us games if he stays healthy, which has been his biggest thing, especially to me in the last 2 years, is he can't stay on the field. Now, and it goes back to what I said earlier about the 2-quarterback system. I mean, if you have 2 basically starters on your team, unless you are somebody like Carolina and you're just paying this guy so much money, you've got to get rid of one of them. You've got to dedicate your time and energy into one guy, because if you're telling Trey Lance, hey, you're going to be the guy, but we're going to restructure Jimmy just to keep him around, that's going to tell Trey Lance, like, okay, even though they're telling me that they've got full trust in me, they're probably not if they're going to try and keep Jimmy G. Because I think we all can agree Jimmy G is a starter in this league.
Yep.
And he deserves to start. So why restructure his contract to keep him as a backup? So
I can think of at least like 4 or 5 other quarterbacks that I would take Jimmy over them easily.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, guys, this reminds me a whole lot of the Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick situation to an extent. The only thing we have not seen Trey Lance as much in the NFL as what we did with well, let me take that back. We saw Colin with he had one great game, and with Alex Smith being injured, the great Harbaugh, who's now at Michigan, says, "Hey, we're going to go with Colin Kaepernick," who at the time was the much younger quarterback, and we saw what happened. They did end up losing the Super Bowl, which, fine and dandy and everything like that. But you have this veteran quarterback, and I still believe if Alex Smith was in that situation, the 49ers probably win that Super Bowl. I'm just gonna throw that out there. We don't know how good Trey Lance is. Like you said earlier, Alex, he does not have very much experience at all when it comes to playing quarterback. And also, one thing I think the organization really has to sit down and they really have to digest something. Do we really want to take a step back? Because if we look at last year, did anybody expect the 49ers to go as far as they did last year? Absolutely not. I don't even think the 49ers expected him to go as far. So it's almost like if you're going to start Trey Lance, which let them start Trey Lance. I don't care what they do at this point. But it's almost like they're already throwing in the towel. To some extent, they're already saying, you know what, we're not going to be any good this season. Let's go ahead and throw him out there. And to me, I don't think that's fair to Trey Lance. I don't think that's fair to Jimmy Garoppolo. Because it's like you said, I know of several quarterbacks I would take Jimmy Garoppolo over. Several starters that are currently in the National Football League right now. And including those who I think are going to win the division, like Philadelphia. I would take Jimmy Garoppolo over Jalen Hurts right now, at least right now. If you want to go to that extent, I would take Jimmy Garoppolo over Matt Ryan right now, and Matt Ryan starting for the Indianapolis Colts.
That one's a hot take.
I'm just telling you. Of course, like I said, Matt Ryan, he's getting old. He's done. All right, he's done. Now, I'm saying in general, there's so much more to this than meets the eye, because it's like I said before, you're going to start Trey Lance, but to me, San Francisco's throwing in the towel, and they're saying, we don't think we're going to be any good. Let's keep Jimmy around just in case this whole Trey Lance thing does not work out.
Jacob also threw in a chat, I think Jimmy G is too injury prone for me to give him a start, maybe over Geno Smith, and that's about it. He's too much of a high risk, a high reward type of person to give money to, and that is fair. Okay, but even if that is the case, I would still take him over, at least off the top of my head, 3 different quarterbacks, being what he just mentioned, Geno Smith. Davis Mills down in Houston, I'd take Jimmy G over. Daniel Jones in New York, I would take Jimmy G over. Hell, even if I was Cleveland, I would take Jimmy G to be my guy for 11 games over Jacoby Brissett, even if I got to pay more money. I would even consider taking Jimmy G over Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill is just a game manager, and a half-ass one at that. Jimmy G is a lot better game manager than Ryan Tannehill. I mean, there's multiple quarterbacks. That is a good point because he's injury prone, which is also where there was no trade market. Apparently, is that even at apparently the owners meeting or whatever. Kyle was going around trying to why aren't you guys interested? In Jimmy, it's like he's coming off that that surgery. It's like he's too high risk. Also another one, Washington. I'd take Jimmy G over Carson Wentz any day. There's a lot of quarterbacks. Davis Mills is a future Hall of Famer in my mind. You and Tyler need to calm the fuck down, okay? Both of you. With fucking long neck, man. He's not a future Hall of Famer. You need to relax, Jacob. But I don't know, man. I'm with you, Ricky, where it's just like, you need to, if you already made it very clear that this is Lance's team, Lance is their guy, and to the point that you're telling Jimmy, don't come to the office. Still paying him, not fining him, but just like, hey, don't be near the facility, and now you do this. I think there's the side of it of where I watched that preseason game of San Fran Houston the other night. I did watch that full game, actually. Trey did not look good in the first half that he played. In my opinion, he did not look good at all. That was one of the biggest things, the 2 things I took away from that game. Trey looked terrible. Houston's defense looked a lot better than last year, and they looked good last year. Let me stress that. I'm not saying they looked bad last year, because they were really good in takeaways last year. They looked like a true Lovie Smith defense. Those are my 2 takeaways. So this coming out is again, I think it's a mix of they didn't want him to be released and go to Seattle, especially since they play Seattle in week 3, week 4, and they're not completely sold on Lance yet. They're giving themselves an insurance policy. But the problem behind that is your insurance policy is your starter that led you to a Super Bowl and have led you to 2 different NFC championships. The moment this team is even somewhat bad this year and Trey is somewhat bad, it's going to get loud. Okay, it's going to get loud because like the thought's going to creep into these players' minds, right? Like it's going to happen where it's just like we got a guy that we know can do it, and we're just entertaining this second year player. You know what I mean? I get it. He's the future. Writing's on the wall. You know, it's a business. We get that, but like, you know, there's a lot of like this team is built and ready to go now. So like, let's win now. You know what I mean? So it's gonna get loud in San Fran this year, man. This is gonna be an interesting story to follow all year long, in my opinion. Like I don't know, this was wild to me.
It's gonna be ugly.
Yeah, it's gonna be ugly in my opinion. And like to me, like also with this news being out there, I already thought San Fran was gonna be average at best anyway. I think I had them going 9-8. I'm gonna further just hammer that shit that this team's gonna be average as hell this year. Like next year, we'll see. Could be a different story. This year, there's just too much drama. Drama does not work out for a team and on any level. If you got drama going around, man, it's not going to work out for your team. So it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly quick. Too bad for Shane though. He had a chance at Jimmy G and San Fran said, "Nah, fuck that." Yeah, too bad for that.
Yeah, it feels bad. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted some thoughts on, just real quick here. Don't have to go in a lot of detail. What do you guys think of that top 10 for the NFL Top 100? Tom Brady getting number 1, man. That's a fucking joke to me. Like that is an absolute joke. The dude got number 1 in the rankings. Like at least I feel like it should have gone to Aaron Donald personally. Like it blew, and I even would have said Cooper Kupp should have been number 2, and Aaron Rodgers at that 3 spot. But Tom Brady being 1 absolutely fucking stunned me. What was you guys' thoughts on that top 10?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Now strictly just thinking at the quarterback position, and the basics of it, right? Getting the ball to your receivers so they can make plays. Tom Brady's the best out of the best, right? He's done it the best out of his long tenure as a pro quarterback. I'll give him that. But if you're looking at a top 100 list, you cannot just go basis off of the basis of that position, right? Because when it comes to quarterback, there's more to it. When it comes to a receiver, there's more to it than just catching the ball and getting yards and scoring touchdowns. When it comes to a quarterback, yes, you've got to get the ball and know the game as far as mentally, know your plays, know your calls, and all that. He's got all that. But it's the extra stuff that Tom Brady doesn't have, right? He doesn't have the running ability. Yes, here and there he can escape the pocket to kind of buy some extra time, but there's 10 quarterbacks that I can name right now that can do it a lot better than he can, and still has the mentality to play the position, or else they wouldn't be playing it in the NFL right now. And by what I mean by that is, okay, take Aaron Rodgers. Take Aaron Rodgers for instance, right? Aaron Rodgers is more athletic than what Tom Brady is. I think we can all say that.
Yep.
And he has the same mentality and the same ability of getting the ball to receivers to where they can make plays. So therefore, Aaron Rodgers should be ahead of Tom Brady, in my opinion.
I think because with these NFL Top 100 lists, they always go based off previous season play. And with previous season play, I feel like you're hitting it on the head. Aaron Rodgers should 100% have been above Tom, in my opinion. Tom didn't play bad last year. Let me stress that. He didn't play bad. I just don't think he's number 1 fucking player in the league. You know, and Jacob pointed this out, and I was going to as well. They completely trashed on Justin Herbert, who had almost the exact same stats as Tom Brady. That is 100% true. Justin came in at number 40, I think. Like, I mean, like, at least give Justin, like, up in the 20s. You know what I mean? If you're going to, I don't know, man. Like, I understand the top 100 is voted amongst your peers. Like, I get it. Like, it's the players are voting this, and they're just paying respects to the GOAT. You know, especially since he came back out of retirement. So it's just everyone like fresh in their mind. Oh, he's the greatest of all time, blah, blah. But I don't know. Come on, man. I mean, number 1 in the league as a whole, I think should have been Aaron Donald, personally, especially with that unbelievable performance in the Super Bowl. I'd even put, like I said, Cooper Kupp at 2, Aaron at 3. You know, I'd even say Jonathan Taylor at 4, maybe Tom at 4, Tom at 5, around there. Like, I don't know. Tom at number 1 just shocked the hell out of me personally.
Yeah, I don't think I would have had Tom at number 1 either. That just, I mean, and I love Tom Brady. Like I do believe, without a doubt, 7-time Super Bowl champion. And I get the whole respect issue. I would put him ahead of Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, if you talk about regular season play, No one's better than Aaron Rodgers right now, and as far as like in the season. But if you take the whole collective as a whole, it's Tom Brady.
Right.
Because Tom Brady has the most postseason success.
Yep.
I mean, yes, athletic wise, yes, Aaron Rodgers is going to. If it's a 40-yard dash, Aaron Rodgers is going to smoke Tom Brady because Tom Brady's 40-yard dash is like 7 seconds or something like that. He is very, very slow when it comes to being a quarterback or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I would have probably put Aaron Donald up there. I think that would have been a given. I was very surprised, though, that Patrick Mahomes was still a little low, and I get that he didn't have the greatest season last season, but he still had a pretty decent year. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I really don't give a whole lot of thought, guys, when it comes to this. Just for the simple fact is, guys, it's not gonna matter until we play the game.
Yep.
It's like Tom Brady taking the last 11 days off, or 14 days, or however long it was that he left, and you got these analysts on ESPN who are freaking out. It's like, come on, people, it's the preseason. These rankings don't mean a damn thing. All that's gonna matter at the end of the year is when my Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl finally.
It's not going to happen. You need to relax. But Jacob's a Cowboys fan is too. He's a Cowboys fan. He just threw in the chat. He's just like, Rain Dakota Prescott was snubbed as well, but that's my personal bias for me.
Now, I will say this much. Who was it? Was it Justin Herbert? I don't think they did not do well at all. I think that's one thing that you sort of have to take a look at whenever you're looking at these players, is that you have to look at what their team actually did. They didn't make the playoffs.
Nope.
They didn't do hardly anything. They
lost a lot of close games.
If you look from midseason on, they fell way short of expectations. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think San Diego is going to be I'm sorry, the LA Chargers.
Get your shit together.
I got to get it together, man. I tell you what.
Bolt up, baby.
I got to get it together, man. Tell you what, the LA Rams, LA Chargers, I'm sick of this crap. Go back to St. Louis, Rams. Go back to San Diego.
St. Louis stinks. Come on now.
No, yeah, it's true because it's a baseball town. But so I mean, like I said though, I don't think the Chargers are going to do that bad this year. I honestly believe if you look at just bases off what happened last year, I mean, yeah, you could honestly say, you could honestly say that it's just based off of that. I don't think, and of course with Tampa Bay last year, the injuries they had were, oh my gosh, they had at least 25 players on their injured list. It was unbelievable. And still, Tom Brady was able to still make the playoffs and accomplish a little bit. But, like I said, they came back and tied the game with the Rams, who eventually won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, it could have gone either way. So, consider that he didn't have anybody surrounding him last year to the point of where there was no return, basically. I mean, that's where the respect really comes in with Tom Brady, especially being a 7-time Super Bowl champion.
Yeah. Jacob also threw in there, but if they're ranking individuals, though, you can't take into account what the entire team has done. You should only look at the players themselves, and that is fair and true. But the problem is, it's just like the players themselves that are making these lists. They're the ones that are probably taking in the team. Is what it comes down to for why Justin got snubbed so much. At least in my opinion.
Because you look at the MVP races and look at it's every sport. Yep. It's not just football. It's every single sport. Baseball, basketball, college football, and the Heisman race. They all base it not just on your individuality. They base it on what the entire overall team does. Because I will say this time and time again, I don't give a damn who is out there who is a big Tim Tebow fan, but Darren McFadden got snubbed not once but twice out of the Heisman, all because the teams that Troy Smith and Tim Tebow played on were much better. If you look at the individuality of every single player, Darren McFadden had both those in the bag.
I think he definitely had it in the bag against Troy Smith. Tim Tebow, I feel like that could have been a flip of the coin. Darren or Tim, in my opinion. But also shout out to that Heisman poll, because that was one that had Colt Brennan in it. Go Bows. And Chase Daniel.
No, I want to kind of speak on this. I do agree to an extent that you have to somewhat, not necessarily look at what the team does, but what that player's impact on the team is, right? Now I'll use Darren McFadden as this example of why I agree with Ricky as far as he should have won at least one, if not both of those Heismans, is because without take Darren McFadden out of the Arkansas team, we may go 500 or below 500. But since he was on that team, that's what allowed us to win 7, 8, 9, 10 games in those 3 years or whatever it was. So that's what I would base it on. Not necessarily what the team does, but how that player impacts what the team does, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. I'll shout out to Iggy. He's living in a fantasy world if he thinks Dallas is going to go to the Super Bowl. And before anything is said, I'll be happy if my Panthers have a winning season. Iggy, if we're just going to be honest, man, that's every Dallas fan in the history of Dallas Cowboys fans. They all live in a fantasy world. Sorry, Ricky, it's the truth.
Hey man, I'm just trying to get a little bit of hope because I know good and well it happens every single year that they turn out to be this good team. Like last year they went 12-5, so they're like, okay, maybe we have a chance. But I knew deep down they were going to blow it anyway. So I'm just trying to make a little bit of what was it called? A little bit of drama to the
Right,
show, if you want to
yeah.
put it that way. Just a little bit
Hey,
of drama. It's like if
we
I were
love
to come
drama.
out and say that I was rooting for Florida State to win the the college football playoff or something
Wow.
like that. Yeah, so add a little bit of drama
Little
to it. Of
spicy.
course, I also know that Alex doesn't hate the Cowboys as much as he does Florida State. So anyway,
I don't hate the Cowboys as much, but so there are some Cowboys fans out there that I just despise. Let me tell you, not you, thankfully, and not my friend Brady, and not Jacob in the chat. But man, I just living on Twitter. There are some people out there that just they need to be silenced. They need to stop. Oh
well,
god.
we need a kicker right now, man. We don't even have a kicker.
What are you guys doing, bro? Like, you got rid of both your backup quarterbacks. You don't have a back unless something has changed I haven't seen. And you got rid of your kicker. But you're at your 53-man roster. Like, what are you guys doing? I don't know, man.
They were not pleased last year with the kicking game at all. Because if you look at the kicking game, it was atrocious. And of course, they didn't bring Dan Bailey back, which I get it because of the fact is he did get injured. It was affecting his kicking game a little bit, but I personally would have stuck with Dan Bailey through thick and thin just because the accuracy that he did have. He wasn't a Justin Tucker, of course. Justin Tucker, when it's all said and done, is probably gonna be the best kicker to ever play the game.
1,000%.
I believe they're gonna use some of the players a little bit of trade leverage, possibly to get a kicker and maybe a backup quarterback. At this point, I have no idea who they're going to get for a backup quarterback. Jimmy G is taking up, people. Jerry, just to let you know, Jimmy G is taken right now. He has a no trade clause. There's no way in hell he's going to the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Hey, the Chicago Bears just waived Nathan Peterman, who famously threw like 6 picks in his first start ever. So you guys can get him. He's a great quarterback. Pick him up.
Tim Tebow.
Jacob Boss out there. I'll be honest, when I saw we hired McCarthy a few years ago, I knew right then and there that we weren't going to go win a Super Bowl under his watch. He's way too conservative. And that's a fair point. Honestly, I said this, I think, weeks back, and I'm going to keep saying it. I think this is Mike McCarthy's last year, depending on how you guys do, because I think Jerry's going to hard go after Sean Payton. That's my hard stance and canon, is that he wants Sean Payton in that building. That's what I think is going to happen. But I don't know. We'll see.
I have a hot take on that. Alex.
The Sean Payton thing.
Why would you want more mediocrity?
Whoa, calm down now. I would take Sean Payton over Mike any day.
Why would you want more mediocrity? You look at their coaching stats. Their winning percentages are almost identical. If you take away the losing season that Mike McCarthy had when he first got there, their win-loss record is very, very identical. Mike McCarthy's won more division. They've been to the same amount of conference championships. They each have one certain. Why do you want more mediocrity? Why would you want that? Like to me, you're not really getting much more with Sean Payton than what you are with Mike McCarthy. You're just not. That's just my opinion. I mean, you just always look at the statistics. Always look at the statistics. Their winning percentages are almost identical. The only reason Sean Payton's is up a little bit more is that one losing season that Mike McCarthy had when he first came to Dallas and Dak was injured.
See, I have not looked at their stats side by side personally. That's me being ill prepared for this battle that we have seemed to just started. But like, I just look at it from an offensive standpoint, bro. I mean, Sean Payton is like, while you explaining it that way, and I'm just gonna take your word for it. Okay, fair point, totally get it. I just still personally view Sean Payton as just like an offensive mastermind. Personally, I mean, he's up there as some of the highest IQs in terms of offense, and that's what I would look at. And I would rather take take a gamble with that personally than continue to rock with Mike McCarthy. That's my mindset on it.
I'll give you the offensive mastermind. I will give you that 100% all day long. But I want you to realize something. How long did he have Drew Brees?
Since 2006. Or
All right,
yeah.
well, it was before then because I think they won the Super Bowl in 06, if I'm
Nope.
not mistaken.
06 was Indy and Chicago.
Was it 06 that was Indy and Chicago?
Yep.
What year was it that the Saints won?
09.
Oh, no. Okay, so you take from 06 until Drew Brees retired, which was what, 2 years ago, and
Yep.
they won one Super Bowl together.
Yep.
They went to two conference championships together, maybe 3. I mean, it just no. I just like I said, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, if you're trying to get over the hump that you are on right now, you're gonna stay on the same hump with Sean Payton. That's just my opinion. I mean, and now if they do end up getting rid of Mike McCarthy, am I going to be mad that they get Sean Payton? No. But I'm just saying in general, why do you want more mediocrity? We already have mediocrity. We've had mediocrity for years.
That's fair. That's fair. And also, it is at least 3 for sure, locked in, because obviously it's the one where they went to the Super Bowl, the infamous, Rams game with that horrible call, one of the worst missed calls ever. And then also the reason why I know for a fact that 2006 was the first year for Drew Brees and the Saints is because that first year he managed to take the Saints all the way to the NFC Championship where they lost to Chicago. That's the only reason I knew that off the top of my head.
Yep, that is right. That is right.
I'll just go ahead and hop on this train. Tony Romo for head coach. Let's go.
Oh, here we
Why
go. Here we go. Let's get it.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, listen, just promote Kellen
much.
Moore. Just promote Kellen Moore. Do that.
I will say this much about Tony Romo, guys. If statistically, he is in the top 10 as far as QBR goes. He just couldn't get done the postseason like any other Cowboys that they have since whatever the last time we won this. I can't remember the last time we won a Super Bowl, people.
And
It's
frankly,
93.
If the
96.
Cowboys' offensive line was as good
95.
as and now this will probably be a hot take. Y'all will probably give me shit for this.
95.
But if the Cowboys' offensive line was better towards the end of Tony Romo's career, by the time around the time they drafted Dak, and Dak had that great offensive line that next year with Ezekiel Elliott or whatever, Tony Romo would have put up some massive fucking numbers. He would have done great behind that offensive line, because I think people give Tony Romo slack because he is not that guy to kind of pull away with the win in the clutch, and kind of not really that guy. But that a big thing that affected Tony Romo was his back, right? Because not only was he always on it in football in games, but I mean he consistently hurt his back over and over and over again.
Man, I loved watching Tony Romo. I'm not a Cowboys fan at all, but Tony Romo was a fun quarterback to watch.
And of course, you could obviously tell with him being in the booth now, the guy knows this. This dude is calling plays
Before they
as they're
happen.
happening.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's like I predict this happen, and it happens. I mean, he knows the stuff. That's for sure. That
Yeah,
is for
I mean,
sure.
why not give him a shot, right? I mean, he's literally calling offensive plays, and they'll go into a fucking. There was one, he was like, they call quarterback walked up there, and Tony Romo said it was gonna be a play. And he's like, okay, well, watch an audible because the defense doing this. And then guess what? As soon as the defense did it, the quarterback audibled, and he said a verbal audible or whatever. And then boom, Tony Romo said, okay, it's gonna be this. And then they switched it. It was the exact same play that Tony Romo called. The defense did exactly what he said. Like, why not give the dude a shot?
Right. And also, 95 season was the last time you guys won a Super Bowl.
That sounds about right. That does sound about right. Yep.
I don't know why, and Shane's pointed this out before when it was just he and I and Tyler, but I don't know why, but I just have some sort of weird mental lock for Super Bowls, and I don't know why, where I could just perfectly recall a year. For 9 times out of 10, I can. You can just once it gets to the 80s, that's where I get a little fuzzy, and I'm like, I'm not so sure. But 90s, 2000s, 2010s, if you just give a random year, I can probably give you the teams. I don't know why. It's just
You know, everybody has that one friend that can do something that
Really
is
weird.
not really
Yeah.
usable, but
Yeah.
they can do it really good.
Exactly.
That's Alex's talent.
That's
Give him a
true.
fucking year, and he'll be like, boom.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you can do that so well, but why?
I
Why
don't
can you do
know.
that so well?
I don't know. I wish I knew, but I don't. Like here, give a random year. Let's see if I can grab it. But not 80s. Don't give me 80s. Just let's see if I can grab it. This is gonna be that one time out of 10 that I can't.
1993.
1993. That should have been a Buffalo and Dallas one.
All right, let's check. Fact check.
1993 season, so 1994 year. Because I know the 1994 season, that one I know because it happened to be my birth year, so that's what helps me remember it. That was San Fran and Los Angeles in 1994 season, 95 year, and so 93, what should have been Cowboys and Buffalo.
You said it was who?
Cowboys and Buffalo for 93 season, 94 year. If you look up 1993 Super Bowl, it may show the Super Bowl that took place like in the actual year, which
is like what 27.
Now that I don't know. I don't know those numbers off the top of my head. Besides like a couple, but yeah, 1993 season.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Cowboys and Bills. Cowboys defeated the Bills 52-17.
Oh my God, what a beatdown on them Bills. That's unfortunate. No, I don't know why I remember that. I really don't. It's fucking stupid. And like Shane just said, it's just a useless talent that I just have. I don't know, man. That's my useless fun fact about me. I don't know. Anyway, next thing that I wanted to chat about real quick here, NFL wise, was did you guys see the thing about Baker Mayfield throwing out some heat? You guys ready for that Week 1 game? Because I'm ready for it. But
about him saying that he's gonna fuck them up.
Yeah, he's gonna fuck up Cleveland. I don't know, man. Like I wanna jump on that train where it's just like let's fucking go, baby. But at the same time, like, man, you're on the Panthers. Do you really have a right to be able to sit there and say you're gonna fuck up that Browns defense? Like, I mean, I'm just saying. No offense, Iggy, but man, I'm just being realistic here. Like, I mean, I appreciate. I want to see it happen. I think that'd be dope, but I just don't know if it will personally. But I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny. He's gonna fuck him up. Hey, let's run through some quick news here. All right, so Baltimore signed Kenyon Drake. Shout to that. Jacksonville trade Laviska Shenault to Cleveland, Carolina. So Carolina gets a new weapon, and I was kind of disappointed to see that happen because I really liked Laviska when he was at Colorado State or Colorado. I forgot which. I think it was Colorado actually. I really liked him when he was there, and I really liked when we drafted him. But I mean, when you look at the wide receiver group that we have now and some of the other offensive weapons we have, it makes sense. Someone's going to have to get shafted there. Like, I get it. So, but hopefully he does well in Carolina. And then also New Orleans trades for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to Philly. So that's immediately to my understanding, he's going, because he was a nickel corner for New Orleans, and now they're going to transition him to safety. I mean, that's immediate starter. So that's a big dub there for Philly on that one. Some possible trades to watch. I've heard a lot of rumblings from Kenny Golladay in New York. But that contract's a fucking killer. I mean, he's got so much locked in. Giants are going to have to literally pay like $20 million to potentially trade him. But he didn't get a TD last year. He very well underperformed. And from what I understand, that he has completely just rubbed Brian Daboll and this new regime the wrong way since the new regime has been there. Which sounds familiar. Sounds like Tevin Jenkins, who was also on the trade watch for Chicago. Same thing. They should rub the new regime the wrong way. Like, they have no obligation to him, you know what I mean, to either of these players, other than just like, in Kenny's case, contract. So potential trade to watch there. Jalen Reagor as well in Philly. Potential trade watch there. I don't see him getting traded for that. I don't think anyone would take a shot on him. He's been terrible. I mean, the most notable thing about Jalen is that he was drafted before Justin Jefferson. That's the only notable thing he's got going for him. So, I mean, that tells you everything right there. Some notable cut down day stuff. O.J. Howard cut from Buffalo. I think he'll get picked up somewhere. Former first-round pick, Super Bowl champion for the Bucs. I think someone will snag him. Kellen Mond as well from Minnesota. He was a third-round draft pick, but again, new regime. No, this new regime was dead ass set on Kirk Cousins, so it makes sense. Josh Rosen.
There's your backup quarterback for Dallas. There's Kellen your backup right there.
Yeah, there you go. That or just get Josh Rosen. But no, Kellen would actually be a pretty solid backup, honestly, for you guys. I could see that one happening. I could see that one being picked up, and they probably saw that as well. Preston Williams, that one was a kind of a shocker. But then again, you look at that.
Whoa.
Yeah, Preston Williams was cut from Miami. But then again, you look at that. It's kind of the same thing like I said with Laviska. I mean, you look at, like, it's a pretty crowded room. especially since they got, drafted Jalen last year, brought Hill in this year. They got some other weapons there already outside of Preston. Preston was fighting for that 4th spot, not even a 3rd spot. I forgot who their 3rd is. So that Preston's going to be one to watch, is who's going to potentially snag him. Josh Gordon completely forgot he was on KC. He was waived naturally.
I completely forgot he's playing football.
Yeah, which him being waived from KC worries me because I feel like Ryan Poles may give Josh Gordon a call, and Josh Gordon might be a Bear, and that it kind of worries me. But we'll see.
Hey man, that's gonna beef up my 11-win Bears this year.
Calm down.
Relax. Let's do
Relax.
it. Let's do it, man.
Relax.
Sign him. Let's go.
And then Gerard Davis from Detroit. He's a former 1st-round pick as well. He got waived. Next up I've got here is the AFC division winners poll that I was doing over at our Twitter at Terrible FB Show. You give us a follow. For the North, 3-way split. Naturally, makes sense. It's going to be a tough division. Cincinnati, Pitt, and Baltimore all with 30.8% of the votes. Cleveland with 7.7%. For the South, Indianapolis with 43.3%, Jacksonville with right at 30%, and Houston and Tennessee both sharing 13.3%. The East, Buffalo at 52%, Miami at 20%, New England at 16%, the Jets at 12%. The West, Vegas at 36.4%, KC at 27.3%, and LA at 21.2%, and Denver at 15.2%. And I want to point this out. I'm hurt and offended that out of all 8 of these polls that I've done, Chicago is the only one that did not receive a single vote. I am hurt and offended by this. Even Houston got a vote, which I think was Tyler, that sick motherfucker. I am very offended that out of 8 polls that I did, every team got a vote except for the Bears, which might be my fault. I was trying to vote realistically, not based on my own personal feelings. I'm just a little hurt by that. But anyway.
And that's a lot more respectable than what the NFC was. The NFC,
that one was wild. They had Atlanta winning.
Whatever they're smoking, I want it now.
That was
just
wild,
give it to
bro.
Me. A stressful couple of days. Just give me what you're smoking, please. Or at least tell me who your supplier is. I'll go buy it myself.
Yeah.
Just tell me who your supplier is. I won't tell anyone, I swear.
Dude, yeah, just 2 quick things from that one. They had the Vikings winning the North and Falcons winning the South. Like that was the wildest things. That was
Absolute
the wildest
asinine.
things. That was insane to me, bro. All right, guys, let's get into our picks. We're officially locking in our picks. So last season, we would always play music during this segment. I don't have the music set up on the mixer. I'm gonna be honest with everyone. I forgot to set it up. So no music this week. I'll get music next week. I'm sorry. I'll set the vibe next week. All right, so guys, let's get into this. It's time to officially lock in our picks for everyone to know, so we know exactly our stance. And I also want to give everyone a friendly reminder with our pick 'em polls here. For college football, we're being very lenient for week 1, since week 1 covers from August 27th all the way to this weekend. So the way that this website works is that you can either just set it up before game time or set it up by noon on Saturday. Going forward, week 2 and beyond, noon by Saturday, all picks need to be locked in. If we're locking our picks in on Tuesdays, you need to lock your picks in before Saturday. That's our mindset. It's just this one, this time we're being leaning on it because of how the website's set up. So anyway, guys, let's jump into it. Okay, first up, number 7 ranked Utah, Florida. Who you guys got? Who you guys rolling with?
Utah.
I'm going Utah. Let's get it.
Man, Utah is an easy pick. But I'm gonna go Florida.
Okay.
As much as I hate it, I'm gonna go Florida. Billy Napier is the head coach, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I want to see what he does in his first year. This would be a big win and a big boost to that program if they get it. I'm gonna go Florida.
Okay, that's fair.
That's respectable.
Number 24, Houston at UTSA.
This one could be a big trap game for Houston. I think UTSA lost a little too much. I'm going Houston.
I'm going UTSA, personally. That's what I got locked in.
I, as well, am going UTSA. Little Arkansas bias. We have Barry Lunny over there. Great offensive-minded coach. Got some great running backs over there. I'm going to go UTSA.
All right, I got some background music on, boys. I managed to throw in our intro music real quick from the starting screen. So we got intro music on the YouTubes. Shout out to that. Next game, Western Kentucky at Hawaii.
Western Kentucky.
Ricky.
Hawaii.
Woo! Let's go. Go Bows. Hawaii. We're locking it in, baby. All right. I know it's coming. Ricky. Next game we have up is South Dakota State and Iowa.
So, I just want to first start off by saying that I believe in America. And in America, we can make some outrageous picks when it comes to these kind of rounds, especially when March Madness hits around and you see all these upset picks. I am picking South Dakota State to beat Iowa in week 1 this coming Saturday. And here's the thing, gentlemen. I want people to realize that the FCS is not this layover division as what people would like to think. South Dakota State, obviously, they are the rival for North Dakota State. I want people to understand where I'm coming from on this, okay? Last year, South Dakota State had a running back by the name of Pierre Strong who happened to be drafted in the 4th round by the New England Patriots this past season. His backup, his name is Isaiah Davis. Isaiah Davis was his backup last year. Last year as a backup, he had over 700 yards worth of rushing just as a backup, which is actually very good when it comes to when it comes to college football. They also have a tight end by the name of Tucker Kraft, who happened to be the leading leading receptions of tight ends in all of FCS last season. He is going to be very good. They've got an offensive tackle who is also being looked at by the NFL. Not sure if he's going to get drafted. He's probably going to be picked up by a team, undrafted, picked up by a team later. But he also is going to be an NFL draft prospect. They have a set of twins, gentlemen, and let me look this up real quick because I don't want to get these games wrong. They've got 2 twins, Jackson Jakey and Jason Jakey, a set of twins. Jackson Jakey is also an NFL prospect that's going to be looked at for that's going to be looked at for this upcoming draft, and he possibly will be a late round draft. He is very good. His twin Jason is also pretty good, not as good as Jackson. Jackson gets a whole lot more targets than what Jason does, but they are very, very solid when it comes to a set. This is not a typical week 1 FCS to FBS matchup. South Dakota State right now preseason, they are my favorite to win the FCS. They are also preseason ranked number 4, I believe.
Yeah, they're high
in the FCS. So this is not your typical pushover, team that you're gonna see over the weekend, as we do like with Auburn and Mercer. Which go Mercer! I hope they beat Auburn. But you just look at this entire scenario with the fact that Iowa is going to be basically almost picking back up where they sort of have left off, where they were in that little rebuilding phase, because they only had one team, I believe, last year that they even had a common opponent with, and that was Colorado State. And South Dakota State beat Colorado State. So did Iowa. South Dakota State won a little bit more easy. So yes, I am going with South Dakota State over Iowa this weekend. Please, I hope I'm not wrong. I really hope I'm not wrong about this one. I know you two are going to pick Iowa, and that's perfectly fine. We can just move on. Shane picks Iowa. Alex picks Iowa. Let's move on.
Shane, is that who you're going with? He makes a compelling argument.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
Okay.
I'm gonna, still go with the fucking Jackrabbits. He's got me pumped up about him. I'm ready to go. South Dakota State, baby.
See, I locked in Iowa for the actual pick and poll, which I'm pretty sure I can go back and edit my picks. I think.
You can.
Okay. You're making
I switched from Western Kentucky to Hawaii this morning.
You make me want to go with the Jackrabbits. I'm not gonna lie.
It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't.
I'll be the outlier. I'm gonna stick with Iowa. First thought, best thought. That's my mindset.
Hey man, like you said though, college football, it's always a toss-up for you, man.
It is.
It's always a toss-up
for you. It is.
I
Last year I got hot in college. I did. Tyler started off hot and I started off bad, and then I got hot and he got cold. So yeah, we'll see. I gotta get a feel for things. Next up, Missouri State at UCA. I'm rocking in with Missouri State on this one.
Yeah, Missouri State has way too much, I think, over than what UCA does. Even though UCA is very, very respectable,
Yep.
they fell off pretty bad last year
They
compared
did.
to what they had been. I see them doing a little bit better this season, but Missouri State's gonna beat them pretty easy.
Yeah, that's gonna be our first sweep of these picks. Missouri State.
Virginia Tech at Old Dominion.
All right, second sweep, Virginia Tech.
I really want to go with Old Dominion on this, but I think Old Dominion's front line, their D line to me is going to be a little weak. So I'm going to stick with Virginia Tech.
I'm going Virginia Tech also. Next up, North Carolina, Appalachian State. When I picked this game personally, my mindset was I was going to probably pick App State, but I don't know, man. I think I'm rocking with UNC. Drake really impressed me with just like his poise, playing. So I'm gonna rock with UNC on this one.
This is at Appalachian State.
Yep. Beautiful scenery, by the way. One of my favorite landscapes in all of college football.
North Carolina cannot have the start that they had against Florida A&M. They had a slow start, and of course they ended up wearing them out in the fourth quarter. And the fourth quarter obviously belonged to North Carolina. I think they outscored them 21-0 in the fourth quarter, which was really able to break away. I'm going to stick with North Carolina. Would not shock me if App State pulls this off.
Okay. Shane?
Yeah, I'm going North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm too high on them to let them lose this game. I'm not saying App State's not a good team. I think they are. But I've got to roll with North Carolina. I think this is going to be too much.
Next up, Colorado State at number 8, Michigan. I'm going Michigan. Easy pick for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, same. Michigan.
Yeah, it's not going to be close.
Number 4, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Going Clemson.
I'm going Clemson as well. Even though, like I said, with Georgia Tech, it's very hard to prepare for a team like this, especially for the first game of the year. But I am going to go to Clemson. I think they just overall talent-wise is going to be overbearing.
Yeah, and this needs to be a rebound year for Clemson, considering last year was just not very good at all. So yeah, but this game, I'm going to go Clemson.
Number 25, BYU at South Florida. BYU, even though I think they're overrated, but South Florida.
South Florida is complete and utter garbage. Like, I think if you put Indiana and South Florida in a conference together and just had them play each other throughout the rest of the season, that'd be one of the worst football games to ever watch, known to man. I'm going with BYU.
I'm as well going BYU.
All right, number 11, Oregon at number 3, Georgia.
I really, for some reason, something in the back of my mind wants to pull the trigger on this game.
I do too.
And go with Oregon.
There's that part of me that really wants to.
I think I may have mentioned this before. Georgia's returning productivity ranks 122nd in college football. That's very, very bad as far as returning product goes and everything like that. But Georgia's recruiting is very, very good. Kirby Smart's recruiting is very, very good. Oregon, I don't think Bo Nix is not a great quarterback. I know he beat Arkansas last year. We're not going to go there. But I don't know. I think with Georgia being at home, the SEC typically has had very good success over the Pac-12 as of late. I want to pull the trigger, but I think Georgia pulls it off.
I'm rocking with Georgia, but man, I want to pull Oregon. Shane, this is your second team. What are you doing, man?
Not so fast. I'm going to go with Oregon.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, yes.
Someone does.
I'm going to Oregon, and I'll tell you why.
All right, good.
One, for what Ricky said, we all know they've lost a lot, mostly on that defensive side of the ball, right? And it's kind of usually when we think of Georgia and we think of a team like Pac-12 or Big 12 or Big 10 or whatever it may be, usually it's opposite of this, right? Usually the SEC team's going to have the better defense, more experienced defense, and that's usually what overcomes teams because it's hard to score, even if you do have a prolific offense like Oregon is typically going to have. And again, I'll go back to Ricky. I'll agree with him. Bo Nix is not the best quarterback I don't necessarily like him at Oregon. But I think it's flipped here. I think Oregon's going to have a much better defense than what Georgia's going to have. I mean, Oregon's going to have a much better defense than what Georgia's going to have. They're going to be much more experienced. They have possibly a top 3 pick and Noah Sewell sitting there at middle linebacker.
True.
He's the anchor of that defense. I'm going to say, even though Georgia's defense is going to be good, don't get me wrong, Kirby Smart knows how to recruit. They're going to be they're not going to be experienced, though. They're young.
That's fair.
And on the flip side, Georgia's offense is going to be much better because they are returning, even though they did lose quite a bit of people, I mean, in totality, but less on the offensive side of the ball than they did the defensive side of the ball. And they do get their Stetson Bennett back. But I think that Oregon defense is going to be too much. I think Noah Sewell is going to be a wrecking crew. Very well look out for him to having, 15 tackles this game and 3 sacks and a couple quarterback hurries. So I'm going to go Oregon.
I respect that. I hope so.
Oh, man, that makes me want to change my pick, Alex. Goodness gracious. That really, I'm going to feel
he
like
changed
an
his
idiot
pick
when
for
Oregon
you.
wins.
He changed his pick for you.
Go Ducks. Here we
Here
go.
we
I'm
go.
changing it. Go Oregon. Here we go. Oregon.
I'll be the outlier still. I'll
have-
stick with Georgia.
You have Shane, you have made me have a change of heart and go with my original instinct to begin with.
There you go.
Go Ducks.
Let's go, baby.
All right. Next up, number 23, Cincy at Arkansas. Arkansas for both of you, I know.
Yep.
That's a definite. Cincinnati, I think, lost way too much to even be considered.
Nope, Cincinnati's going to win. Arkansas is losing every fucking game this year because Arkansas stinks. Nah, Arkansas is going to win this game. Anyway. All right, so next up, we're now into our 3 game of the weeks. First up, FCS game of the week. Florida A&M at Jackson State. I think it's going to be a very good game. Give me Jackson State, though. Give me Deion Sanders and Jackson State. Let's get it.
Didn't Florida A&M win this game? Didn't they play each other last year? Florida A&M win this game? I think it was a very close game.
I believe so.
Yeah, it was a very, very close game. But I think Jackson State's going to win this one. I think Deion Sanders, his son's a starting quarterback.
Correct.
And I believe with that year underneath his belt, being able to come back, and of course, don't forget the guy that he had that he recruited this past year.
Stole from Florida State.
We can't forget the recruits that he's been able to pull in.
Yep.
Even for an FCS program, it's a huge deal for Jackson State to have these recruits. I'll go Jackson State.
Yeah, as well. I mean, you look at that entire roster of Jackson State, and they are filled with
talent,
top 25 D1 talent. Across the board. Even if they lose some players, they still got some depth. It's Jackson State for me.
Next up, FBS game of the week. Now, I want to stress this. Our FBS game of the week will not always be like a top-ranked matchup. I mean, this is the matchup where College Game Day is going to be at. Like, we made plenty of FBS games of the weeks last year that was like between 2 unranked teams. It was just like a high-end rivalry between those teams, and ended up being good games. Like, it's always going to be different, but to kick things off, college football week 1 just felt right to do something like this. Big, high-profile game. Number 5, Notre Dame, and number 2, Ohio State.
I've got the Buckeyes. I hate Ohio State so much. I hate Ohio State as much as you hate Florida State, Alex. But, I mean, one of the things about doing something like this, guys, I don't go with my feelings. I go with what I know. And what I know is the Buckeyes may not lose a game this year.
Yep.
I right now, if I were to call a preseason matchup, if I were to call a preseason favorite right now, the Buckeyes are probably going to dethrone the SEC this year and win a national championship. So the Buckeyes look very, very solid right now. That's not to say that they can't slip up, but yeah, the Buckeyes are going to win this game.
I got Buckeyes as well. I think they're 2 stacked.
Oh, not so fast, gentlemen.
Oh my
God! We got a
gosh.
new coach, defensive-minded in Notre Dame. I think he's gonna pull some strings. He's gonna pull some shit that we haven't seen before. I'm going with the Fighting Irish.
Oh, here we go. They're currently minus 17.5. So if you want to hammer that, hammer it. So
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not changing my pick this time, Shane.
You convinced them once. You ain't convincing them again. What's up, Steve? He said, where are they playing? They are playing at Ohio State. So that's we'll see how it goes, Shane. I would like to see Notre Dame get the dub. We'll see if they do. And lastly, of course, the most important game of the week, the terrible game of the week, presented by a Terrible Football Show. So I want to stress this. There was probably a lot worse game than the one that I picked, but for week 1 of college football season, a Terrible Football Show season 2, it only felt right and full circle to go with Central Connecticut and UConn, because UConn is what helped start the terrible game of the week last season when it was Vandy and UConn. So it just felt natural. It felt right, especially since it was both two Connecticut teams. It just felt right to make this the terrible game of the week for week 1, even though there may have been a worse game. I'm going with UConn on this one. Let's go Huskies.
UConn's gonna be too much for Central Connecticut. And of course, UConn also had a 14-0 lead at one point against Utah State last week in the first quarter.
Yep.
I just if they can stay consistent, that's the big thing. They need to stay consistent. But here's the thing: Central Connecticut is nowhere near as good as Utah State is. I'm going Connecticut.
I'm as well going UConn.
You see, this one was a layup. I get it. I fully get it. It was a layup. But again, it felt right. It felt like it was the right decision to make for our terrible game of the week. Like I said, if you want to compete against us, link down in the description below. Make sure to hit that link for Run Your Pool and come in and join and compete. There will be a prize. I don't know what it is yet, but I promise it will be worth your while. I should probably turn this music down now, shouldn't I? There we go. But yeah, it will be worth your while. Come in and compete with us. Have a good time. For the college football games, they will be available to be picked after the show every Tuesday. I'll get them uploaded. So we'll us three will evaluate it this week, and we'll figure out what our week 2 games will be. It'll be a great time. Boys, do you want to dive into any fantasy stuff this episode, or do you want to wait since we're about almost 2 hours in?
We can kick it off. We can kick off the show next week with it.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan to me. And I will be in studio next week.
That's right. Yeah. Let's go. Ricky will be in studio.
Vacation, baby.
Here we go.
Vacation.
Here we
3
go.
more days.
Hey,
God, just get me through 3 more days.
Listen,
3 more days.
Listen, Ricky, I want you to know every single morning I will send a good morning text to my lady, and I will always include how many days until vacation. 31 days, and I'm fucking out of here. I want the record to be known, I have no idea what we're doing for an episode that week. We may do a pre-recorded, may take a break, or may just cut you guys loose and let you guys do it without me. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure that out in a few weeks, because I have no idea. Because I'm not fucking with the show. I'm not fucking with any show. I don't care. There should be someone here. Zach should be the one that should be here house sitting for me. So, of course, trapped in my chair. Yeah, Zach will be house sitting for me, I'm pretty sure. So, can arrange something. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Guest.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I don't know. All right, I'm going to hit the music, and we're going to work our way out of here. Boys, last thoughts on anything that we chat about here today. Music's playing.
I'm good. I'm 5 days away from college football, and I think we're just a little over that for pro. So I'm excited to get some football watching. And so.
True.
Yeah, favorite time of the year, guys. I'm telling y'all right now, I was shocked because usually first-year referees in high school football do not get a Friday night for a while. And the fact that I'm having 2 in a row, I'm telling y'all, it's football's time, boys, and I'm excited for it.
Right, dude. It's the best. It's one of the best times of the year. All right, this is our time, baby. I'm so pumped. Plus, I'm pumped for some of the things that's coming very soon for SparkE3. You boys don't know what it is, and it's going to further enhance everything. And I'm ready for it. It's going to be great. All right, make sure to go check out Wayward Beard Company, promo code SparkE3. You get 10% off your order. I've tried 4 different scents, and they're all great. Open Road, Sun Breather or Bather, I don't know which one. Trailblazer and Wander, all 4 I recommend. Like all of them. Make sure to check out Rogue Energy. Rocket Pop is about to launch here in I think a couple days. Pick that up. I've been really enjoying it personally. Promo code SparkE3 or Razor3 to get 10% off that order. And then also keep an eye out for the Agent Ink stuff. Looking forward to the designs pumping out here maybe in the next couple weeks. We'll actually have our new merch there. Really excited for that. Agent Ink I'm really excited for this partnership. All right, boys, are we doing it? We got to do it. Come on. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves the outro. We got to do it, boys. Are you ready?
Yeah, we can try to sync it up again. We don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see.
Okay. With all of that said, thank you so much for listening to a terrible football show. Hey, that one was better. We're getting better, boys. Let's get it.